Breaking news. Vladimir Putin has now given the United Kingdom a 72-hour deadline, and what he's asking for could force Britain into an impossible choice. Either betray its allies or face direct confrontation with a nuclear power. This is not speculation. This is not a rumor. Early this morning, an encrypted message arrived at the Foreign Office. According to government sources speaking on condition of anonymity, its contents have left senior ministers more alarmed than anything they've faced since taking office. Here's what's happening right now as you watch this. Emergency meetings began before most of London was awake. Intelligence chiefs cancelled scheduled briefings and rushed to Downing Street. Military commanders received urgent calls. Starmer's government immediately went into full crisis mode, the kind usually reserved for terrorist attacks or direct military threats on British soil. The response wasn't just fast, it was immediate. Cabinet members were pulled from morning appointments. Security advisors cleared their schedules. Within 2 hours of the message arriving, the entire machinery of government had shifted to high alert. If you want to follow this story in real time, subscribe now. The next 72 hours could change everything, and we're tracking every development as it happens. So what's actually in this message? The Kremlin claims that Britain crossed what Putin calls a red line. Russia is accusing the UK of covert operations that threaten Russian security. And Moscow isn't asking for a phone call, apology, or diplomatic meeting. They want specific action within a strict time frame. What sets this apart from normal diplomatic disputes is the tone. Sources say the language in the message wasn't diplomatic. It was direct, aggressive, and urgent. Moscow clearly considers this a matter demanding an immediate response. Downing Street won't confirm the exact wording. Every official statement today included the phrase, national security reasons. Ministers spoke in rehearsed lines that revealed almost nothing. And that silence tells its own story. When a government avoids even basic questions, the public starts asking, what are you so afraid of us knowing? The lack of transparency is amplifying the crisis. Social media is full of speculation. News channels are running 24-hour coverage. Political commentators are filling the void. Every hour Starmer stays quiet, public frustration grows louder. Inside Parliament, tension was palpable. Starmer tried to project calm at the dispatch box. He said Britain acted within international law, praised intelligence services for professionalism, and promised strength and resolve. He used terms like proportionate response and appropriate measures. But MPs weren't convinced. Conservative members demanded full disclosure. They accused the Prime Minister of hiding the truth while the country faces a genuine threat. One backbencher asked bluntly, if Britain has nothing to hide, why won't the Prime Minister reveal what Russia actually said? The question drew loud applause from opposition benches. Reform UK went further, claiming the government had provoked a nuclear power without a real plan for what comes next. They called for emergency debates and intelligence committees to review events. They accused Starmer of playing politics with national security. Even Labour MPs looked uneasy. Some scribbled notes but stayed silent. Party loyalty seemed strained by the weight of what they weren't being told. The recurring question, what is in that message that you won't show us? Starmer offered no new information. He repeated previous statements, promised ongoing briefings, but gave nothing concrete to answer Parliament's questions. When the session ended, MPs left frustrated and concerned, gathering in corridors to discuss privately. Here's where it gets dangerous. Multiple sources, speaking anonymously because they're not authorized to discuss classified intelligence, claim Putin's warning contains a hidden second part. Something Downing Street hasn't told Parliament or the public. According to these sources, Russia's demand isn't just about intelligence operations, border incidents, or cyber activity. It's a specific request that could fracture Western unity and undermine NATO's Eastern defense strategy. Moscow allegedly wants Britain to pull active support from a key Eastern European ally. Sources didn't name the country, but this isn't about reducing aid, it's about full withdrawal. If that's true, Starmer faces an impossible choice. Say yes and Britain looks weak, allies lose faith, and decades of defense partnerships could crumble overnight. Say no, and Britain risks direct confrontation with a nuclear-armed state already engaged in the largest European conflict since 1945. Putin has repeatedly shown he follows through on threats, even at enormous economic and military cost. There is no middle ground, no diplomatic compromise that satisfies both sides. In Westminster, ministers' avoidance of reporters and carefully worded statements reveal real uncertainty. Experienced political figures appear unsure of the next steps. Outside Parliament, the British public responded immediately and forcefully. Within hours, protesters filled Westminster Bridge. The crowd was large, loud, and deeply divided. Some waved Union Jacks, demanding Britain stand firm against foreign threats, holding signs reading, "Never bow to tyrants." Others demanded transparency, accusing the government of hiding the truth. They wanted answers as much as action. Tension was high. Police lines held as crowds pushed forward. Helicopters circled overhead. Live footage streamed to networks. Journalists interviewed and captured arguments between different groups. This wasn't political theater. It was a country facing real uncertainty. Protests spread to Manchester, Birmingham, and Edinburgh, with smaller gatherings in Bristol, Leeds, and Newcastle. The crisis was national and people demanded answers. Then Buckingham Palace made a rare statement. Short, pointed, impossible to ignore. His Majesty is fully informed and deeply concerned about the evolving situation. Constitutional experts noted the weight of a monarch stepping into a geopolitical crisis. This was beyond ordinary politics. Senior aides were reported moving urgently, with the king receiving constant briefings. The message was clear. This is a national crisis, not just a government problem. Across the Atlantic, the White House acted quickly. Within hours, a formal statement supported Britain and condemned what U.S. officials called aggressive and destabilizing rhetoric from Moscow. The statement praised UK leadership, reaffirmed the alliance, promised full support for British security, and warned Russia against further escalation. But the timing raised questions. Why did the U.S. respond before Downing Street issued its own statement? What coordination took place behind closed doors? And what does Washington know that the British public does not? U.S. intelligence sources suggest they were tracking this situation days before the message arrived, indicating advanced awareness and coordination that wasn't publicly acknowledged. The most striking insight came from a senior UK military commander speaking off the record. He described the situation bluntly. This is not rhetoric. This is strategic positioning. The UK must respond decisively or appear vulnerable to Russia and all other adversaries watching. These are professionals trained for worst-case scenarios. The Ministry of Defense declined to comment, but the warning spread through news and social media. A journalist with Foreign Office connections claimed to see the final line of Putin's message. Russia expects Britain's formal response within 72 hours. Not a request. Not a suggestion. An expectation with consequences implied but unnamed. Downing Street won't confirm or deny it. The Foreign Office declined all questions, and late-night ministers gave the same prepared answers revealing nothing. If the 72-hour deadline is real, the clock started the moment the message arrived this morning. Nobody will say what happens when time runs out. Overnight, security services quietly raised the national threat level just after midnight. No public announcement, no citizen alert. Encrypted calls buzzed across departments. Military readiness protocols activated nationwide. Senior officials were called back to their posts. Inside Downing Street, lights stayed on past 2 a.m. Starmer met continuously with advisors, wrestling with the most critical decision of his political career. What to reveal, what to withhold, how to project strength without escalating the crisis, how to satisfy allies demanding firmness and citizens demanding transparency. One advisor said, "Every word matters now. The wrong sentence could change everything." So here's where Britain stands this morning. A foreign power issued a direct, aggressive warning. The government refuses to disclose its contents. Leaked intelligence hints at demands that could break decades of Western alliances. A 72-hour deadline may be approaching, with consequences unknown. The public is asked to trust leaders who won't explain what's happening. This is not normal diplomacy. This is a test of leadership, transparency, and national resolve. Can Britain hold steady under pressure from every direction? The key question now isn't what Putin said. It's what Keir Starmer will do. Will he stand firm and risk a worse conflict? Will he negotiate and risk being seen as weak? Or will he hide behind national security, while millions demand to know what their government is doing in their name? We don't have all the answers yet. But we are tracking every development as it unfolds. Subscribe with notifications on. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should Britain stand firm or seek dialogue? Share this video so others understand what's really happening. This story is far from over. The clock is ticking. The next 72 hours will show the world exactly what Britain is made of.